You're a fucking murderer." The scream cut through the warm evening air, piercing through the sound of sizzling steaks and laughter inside Big Jake's smokehouse. I wiped my hands on a rag and stepped outside, right into the middle of a full-blown siege. A mob of 20, maybe 30 activists had gathered outside my restaurant, waving signs that screamed, "Meat is murder. Close this house of death. Go vegan or go to hell." At the center of it all, Maya Silverstein, purple-haired, leather-jacketed, and gripping a megaphone like it was a goddamn scepter. She stood on top of one of my patio chairs, eyes blazing with righteous fury. "You profit off slaughter," she shrieked into the bullhorn, making half my customers jump in their seats. "How do you sleep at night, you blooded oak piece of shit?" A guy beside her, some scrawny dude in a meat is murder hoodie, picked up a raw slab of tofu and hurled it at my restaurant window. It splattered like roadkill, leaving a slimy white streak down the glass. The crowd cheered. Inside, my staff and customers watched with a mix of annoyance and disbelief. One of my regulars, old man Clancy, leaned out the door, chewing a toothpick. "Jake, you want me to go get my shotgun?" he asked, dead serious. I chuckled, shaking my head. "Nah, Clancy. Let's have a little fun first." I stepped forward, arms crossed, letting the mob get a good look at me. "All right," I said, calm as ever. "You got my attention." Maya jumped down from the chair, marching right up to me, stopping inches from my face. "This disgusting excuse for a business needs to be shut the fuck down," she snarled. "You and your slaughterhouse have no place in a civilized society." The crowd roared in agreement. I just grinned. "Well, damn, Maya. If I knew you were this passionate about my business, I would have saved you a steak." A chorus of boos exploded from the activists. Maya's nostrils flared. "Oh, fuck you," she spat. "I'm not here to joke around. We're here to make sure you never sell another slab of rotting flesh again." "Is that so?" I said, scratching my chin. "And how exactly do you plan on doing that? Screaming at my customers? Throwing tofu at my windows? What's next? You gonna hold my smoker hostage?" One of Maya's followers, a red-haired girl with an eyebrow piercing, pushed forward. "We're gonna ruin you, asshole," she snapped. "We've already started. We've reported you for multiple health code violations. We're calling local businesses and telling them to drop you. We've got hundreds of people signing petitions to ban your restaurant." I smirked. "That right?" I asked. "Hundreds of people? Damn, that's cute. But let me ask you something. How many of them actually live in Rockridge?" Silence. I let my words sink in, then turned toward my restaurant. Inside, packed tables, customers eating, drinking, laughing. Real people. Local people. My people. I gestured toward them. "See, unlike you, they actually live here. And let me tell you something, sweetheart. Rockridge ain't about to let some tofu-flinging Twitter warriors tell them how to eat." Maya fucking snapped. "You ignorant fucking caveman," she shrieked. "This place is a fucking death camp. You're contributing to global warming, animal cruelty, and human disease. You are killing this planet." She turned to her followers. "He thinks this is funny. He thinks this is a joke. Well, fuck him. Let's make sure he never sells another meal again." The mob surged forward. Half of them started blocking the entrance, screaming at customers who were trying to come inside. A group of them began chanting louder, banging on the windows. One asshole grabbed a bottle of fake blood and splattered it across my front door. And for a second, I could see a few of my customers getting nervous. Some hesitated at the entrance, unsure if they wanted to deal with the chaos. And that's when I decided I'd had enough. I raised both hands and whistled loudly, cutting through the noise. The protesters paused, startled. All right, I said. "Y'all want to act like rabid animals? Then fuck it. Let's play dirty. I pulled out my phone and held it up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the circus, I announced. I hit go live on my restaurant's Instagram page. Within seconds, my 10,000 plus followers got a front row seat to the chaos. Hey folks, just wanted to share something special tonight. See, we got some very passionate individuals outside who want to tell you how to live your lives. So I figured, why not let them make their case? I turned the camera toward Maya and her screeching followers. Maya, realizing what I was doing, lunged for my phone. "Stop recording," she shrieked. I dodged easily. "Oh, come on, Maya. You wanted attention. Now you got it." The comments started flooding in. "What TF is wrong with these lunatics? Bro, they really threw tofu at your window? LMAO. This is why nobody takes vegans seriously. Can we talk about how fire that brisket looks, though?" The tide was turning, and then I landed the killing blow. "Hey, since y'all are here anyway," I turned toward my staff. "Fire up the grills. Let's give these kids a real fucking show." The moment my team threw fresh steaks on the open flame, the smell of charred meat and wood smoke rolled through the air. The protesters collectively gagged. Customers cheered, grabbing their beers and raising their glasses toward the sky. "Y'all want to protest?" I shouted over the sizzle of a fat marbled ribeye. "Well, I got news for you. It's BBQ season, motherfuckers." The moment Maya Silverstein slapped the rib out of my hand, I knew things had escalated to a whole new level of stupid. The crowd inside my restaurant went silent, eyes darting between me and the fallen meat like this was some kind of Wild West standoff. Then old man Clancy, a 70-year-old cowboy who had been eating at Big Jake's for as long as I could remember, stood up from his table. He chewed his toothpick, staring Maya down. "Lady," he said, voice steady, "I've seen a lot of cruel things in my life, but what you just did to that rib, that's downright sinful." A few chuckles from the audience. Some of my regulars started pulling out their phones, recording the madness unfolding outside my restaurant. Maya, still red-faced and raging, turned back to me. "You think this is a fucking joke?" she snapped. "You're a goddamn monster. You make a living off the suffering of innocent animals. You should be ashing me." I wiped my hands on my apron, completely unfazed. "Maya, I gotta say, I'm impressed," I mused. "I didn't think you'd make it this long without fainting from the smell of mesquite smoke." More laughs. Her followers weren't laughing, though. One of them, some scrawny kid with thick glasses and a nose ring, pointed a shaking finger at me. "We're gonna destroy you, asshole," he spat. "You don't know who the fuck you're messing with." Maya nodded aggressively, feeding off the energy. "We've already started," she sneered. "We've reported you for multiple health code violations. We're calling local businesses and telling them to drop you. We've got hundreds of people signing petitions to ban your restaurant." I smirked. "That right?" I asked. "Hundreds of people? Damn. That's cute. But let me ask you something. How many of them actually live in Rock Ridge?" Silence. The second I said it, Maya's expression flickered with doubt. Because she knew the answer was 0, Maya may have lost that round, but she wasn't giving up. Over the next 2 weeks, I was hit with daily fake Yelp reviews, health inspectors randomly showing up, delivery services quietly removing us from their platforms, a massive online smear campaign. The worst? One morning I came in to open the restaurant and saw red paint splattered all over my front door, scrawled across the glass in bold, dripping letters. "Close this bloodbath or else." That was the final straw. I had let them have their fun, but now it was time to strike back. See, while Maya and her cult were busy trying to cancel me, I had been setting up something big because I knew exactly how people like her operated. Step 1. They create outrage. Step 2. They rely on weak-minded businesses and institutions to cave under pressure. Step 3. They claim victory when the target folds. But what happens when the target doesn't fold? They panic. So, I did the one thing she never expected. I turned her protest into free advertising. The second Maya announced her next shut down Big Jake's protest, I announced the first ever Rock Ridge BBQ Festival, a massive town-wide event. Live music, grilling competitions, discounted BBQ platters, and most importantly, unlimited free smoked ribs for the first 100 people. The moment Maya started ranting about burning down the BBQ industry, I blasted my festival promo all over town. Her event? A protest against animal cruelty. My event? An all-you-can-eat BBQ celebration? On the same day? At the same time? The internet went nuts. Gee, this guy is a genius. Maya is about to have a stroke. LMAO. I don't even eat meat, but I respect the pettiness. The best part? I invited the media, every major local news station, every blogger, every influencer. Maya thought she was about to make national headlines with her protest. And she was, just not the way she wanted it. As the festival day inched closer, I made one last move. I invited Maya's former business partner, Lisa Carter, a woman who used to be her closest friend, until she realized Maya was a fraud. See, before Maya was a vegan influencer, she ran a marketing company that scammed people. She built her activist empire on lies. Lisa had receipts, and on the day of the festival, she was going to expose everything. I wasn't just beating Maya at her own game. I was ending her career. The morning of the BBQ festival, I woke up to a voicemail from the city council. Jake, we need to talk about your event today. We've had complaints. I smirked. Oh, I wonder who those complaints came from. When I pulled into the parking lot of Big Jake's Smokehouse, the place was already buzzing. My crew was prepping the pits, and the smell of mesquite smoke rolled through the air. Then I saw them, city officials, standing near the entrance, clipboards in hand. Maya's last-minute Hail Mary. I stepped out of my truck, adjusting my hat. Morning, gentlemen. Here for some ribs? One of the inspectors, a stiff-looking guy in a suit, cleared his throat. We've received multiple health and safety complaints about your event today. I folded my arms. Is that right? Yes, and unfortunately, due to environmental concerns, we may have to shut this down. I stared at him. Then I burst out laughing. You're telling me you want to shut down a BBQ festival for environmental concerns? But you're fine with every other outdoor event in town? They shifted uncomfortably. I leaned in. You don't give a damn about environmental concerns. You got a call from Maya Silverstein, didn't you? They didn't answer. Didn't have to. I pulled out my phone. Well, gentlemen, you might want to think real hard before doing something stupid, because I've already got local reporters on their way here. And trust me, city officials try to cancel local BBQ festival because of vegan activists is going to make one hell of a headline. Silence. Then a long sigh. Fine, the inspector muttered. Just make sure everything stays under control. Don't worry, I said, grinning. Everything's going exactly as planned. By noon, the festival was in full swing. The parking lot was packed, smoke was rolling off the pits, and people were lining up for ribs, pulled pork, and smoked brisket. Then I heard it, the distant sound of screaming. Meat is murdered. Close this house of death. The vegan army had arrived. Maya led the charge, bullhorn in hand, flanked by a group of angry, sign-waving protesters. And right behind them, news cameras. Good. The second she stepped onto the festival grounds, people started whipping out their phones, recording. She climbed onto a plastic crate, lifted the bullhorn, and shouted, Listen up, you sick fucks. You think this is a celebration? You think this is funny? You're all accomplished in a goddamn holocaust. I watched as people in the crowd raised their eyebrows, muttered, exchanged glances. Even some vegans in the audience looked uncomfortable. But Maya, she wasn't reading the room. All of you are fucking disgusting. You're eating burned corpses like psychopaths. You should be fucking ashen. That's when she made her biggest mistake. She jumped down from the crate, stormed toward one of the food stalls, and flipped a full tray of ribs onto the ground. Gasps, silence. Then, boom, the crowd turned on her. Hey, what the hell is wrong with you? Someone shouted. Get the fuck out of here. You owe me ribs, lady. Even the news reporters looked shocked. She froze. For the first time, she realized this wasn't going how she planned. I walked forward, slowly, deliberately, giving her nowhere to run. Maya, I said, voice calm but dangerous, you just crossed a line. She sneered. Aw, what are you gonna do? Hit me? You gonna attack a woman? I chuckled. Nah, I don't need to. You're doing a fine job destroying yourself. I turned to the news cameras. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what these activists do. They don't debate. They don't protest peacefully. They destroy. They force their beliefs on you. And when you don't bow to them, they try to take everything from you. The crowd cheered. She looked around, panicked. Her own followers starting to back away. She pointed a shaking finger at me. This isn't over. You haven't won. I smirked. Haven't I? Then, the final nail in the coffin, I turned to my microphone and said, Folks, I think it's time for a special guest. The crowd hushed. The reporters zoomed in, and then out stepped Lisa Carter, Maya's ex-business partner, the woman she screwed over before becoming a vegan activist. Maya's face drained of color. Hey, Lisa, what are you doing here? Lisa picked up the mic. I'm here to tell the truth. The crowd leaned in. Lisa took a deep breath. Before Maya was a vegan activist, she ran a scam marketing company. She tricked people out of their money, then bailed when the lawsuits started piling up. She only started this whole activism thing because it made her rich. The audience erupted. Maya, she was done. I got you. Here's 1,000 words of pure, unfiltered fire. Let's end Maya for good. Maya stood there, frozen, as the entire crowd watched her life fall apart in real time. The second Lisa played that video, her own words, her own voice, planning a scam, it was over. She staggered back, her face pale, eyes darting around like a trapped animal. Her activist army, the same people who had been cheering for her minutes ago, were now backing away, muttering, shaking their heads. Hey, that's fake, she shrieked, her voice cracking. That's not me. That video was edited. Lisa turned the phone around. Maya, sweetie, I was in the room when you said it, she said with a smug smile. Maya whipped toward her own followers, reaching out desperately. You guys know me. You know I wouldn't do this, she pleaded. These people are trying to ruin me. It's all a setup. But then a middle-aged woman in the crowd, someone who had actually believed in Maya's movement, spoke up. So this was never about the animals, she muttered. Maya snapped toward her, shaking her head wildly. No, yes. But the damage was done. A young vegan couple, still holding protest signs, stepped forward. We thought you were fighting for a cause, the man said, his face full of disappointment. But you were just using us for attention, weren't you? Maya stammered, sweat dripping down her temple. No, Look, whatever that video is, it's taken out of context. I really do care about. More voices from the crowd. Holy shit, she scammed small businesses? I knew she was a fraud. Bro, this is embarrassing. Let's go. And then the biggest betrayal of all. One of her own right-hand followers, a guy who had been holding a Bam Big Jake sign, tossed it to the ground. "Fuck this," he muttered, walking away. One by one, her followers turned their backs. Maya watched in horror as her entire army disbanded before her eyes. Even the news cameras, which had originally come to cover a brave activist standing up to Big BBQ, were now zooming in on her downfall instead. Her hands clenched into fists, her face twisted with rage. "And then," she snapped. Maya spun toward me, trembling with fury. "You!" she shrieked. "You set this up. This was a fucking trap." I grinned. "You're damn right it was." The crowd erupted. Cheers, laughter. Some people were even raising their beers like this was a fucking Super Bowl party. She lost it. "This isn't fucking over," she howled. "You think you've won? You think this means anything? People like me, we don't stop. We don't lose." And that's when she did the dumbest fucking thing possible. She grabbed a tray of freshly smoked ribs from one of my servers and hurled it onto the ground. A loud, wet slap of meat against pavement. Gasps. Silence. The camera panned to a 10-year-old kid standing in line with his dad, looking heartbroken. "My ribs," the kid whispered. And that's when the crowd turned violent. "Oh, hell no. She did just waste those ribs. Somebody call the cops. This bitch committed a war crime." Maya realized she had fucked up. She backed away, panicked, as the crowd surged toward her. Beer cans were thrown, napkins, a piece of cornbread, and then, boom. One of my pitmasters, Big Mike, a 6'5", 300-pound legend, stepped forward. "Lady," he said, cracking his knuckles, "I don't normally hit women, but if you touch another rack of ribs, I might have to reconsider." Maya's face went white. She turned and bolted, pushed through the crowd, ran like a fucking deer on opening day. The news cameras followed. She tripped, tumbled, scrambled back up, and kept running, disappearing down the street. And just like that, it was over. The festival cheered like we had just won the goddamn championship. People were high-fiving, hugging, taking selfies next to the destroyed protest signs. The camera zoomed in on me. A reporter, barely holding back laughter, shoved a mic in my face. "Jake, how does it feel to have just single-handedly ended an entire activist movement?" I smirked. "I'd say it feels pretty damn good, but you know what would feel better?" I grabbed a new tray of ribs, held it up high. "Another round on me. Who's hungry?" The crowd went insane. And that's how Big Jake's BBQ Festival became a goddamn legend. By the time the sun set on the BBQ Festival, it was official. Big Jake's had won. The protest was dead. The activists were gone. And Maya Silverstein, she had vanished off the face of the earth. No Instagram rants, no Twitter meltdowns, no last-minute attempts to spin the story. Nothing. And the best part? The entire town was celebrating. Inside Big Jake's, the party was still going strong. People were toasting ribs instead of drinks, taking selfies with the legendary brisket pit, and slapping me on the back like I just won a UFC belt. At one table, old man Clancy sat with a beer in one hand and a rack of ribs in the other, shaking his head. "Hell, Jake," he chuckled, "I ain't never seen a woman self-destruct that fast since my third wife found my fishing trip was actually a Vegas trip." The whole table erupted in laughter. At the bar, Big Mike was holding court, telling the story of Maya's final run of shame like it was a damn folk tale. "I swear to God," he said, wiping tears of laughter from his eyes, "that girl ran like a squirrel in traffic. She hit the curb, rolled into the bushes, and when she came up, her wig was sideways." The entire bar lost it. Meanwhile, outside, the news vans were still parked and online. The internet was feasting on the chaos. Maya Silverstein gets destroyed at BBQ Festival, 5 million views. When keeping it vegan goes wrong, 10 million views. Meet 1, Activist 0. trending one on Twitter. And my personal favorite, a gif of Maya tripping over herself with the caption, "Should have eaten some protein." Brutal. But here's the thing. It wasn't just means. Maya's entire career was collapsing. The vegan brands that once sponsored her, dropping her like a hot plate. The activist groups that backed her, pretending they never knew her. Even her own followers were deleting old tweets praising her. And just like that, Maya Silverstein went from being the face of plant-based justice to a walking cautionary tale. The BBQ festival? It didn't just succeed. It became a goddamn legend. We sold out of everything. 500 racks of ribs. Gone. 200 pounds of brisket. Gone. Even the damn coleslaw wiped out. Local businesses called me up, asking if they could sponsor next year's event. Tourists started driving in from out of town just to take a picture in front of Big Jake's Smokehouse, the place that survived the Great Vegan War. And then the final cherry on top. About a week after the festival, I got a call from the Rock Ridge mayor's office. "Jake," the mayor himself said, "we need to talk about making this an annual thing." I leaned back in my chair, grinning. "You're telling me you want to make the Great Rock Ridge BBQ Festival a city-sponsored event?" "Hell yes, I do. That thing brought in more people than our 4th of July parade." I glanced out my window at the brand new line of customers waiting outside my restaurant. "Mayor, I think we can make that happen." And just like that, a stupid protest turned into the biggest yearly event this town had ever seen. All thanks to a bunch of angry vegans who thought they could take down a steakhouse. Irony's a beautiful thing, ain't it?